Poppy Playtime's anniversary was yesterday, and we got more news than ever with a massive Project Playtime update, an official Chapter 3 gameplay screenshot, a new extremely dark teaser for the chapter, and much more. Like if you end up enjoying, but let's get right into it. So starting off with Project Playtime news, the first thing we got this anniversary was actually an announcement for a brand new Project Playtime map titled Forsaken. And along with the announcement image, we were given two brand new screenshots of the actual new map, both of which showing a much larger and taller map than anything we have seen before in the game. And what you might have also already noticed is that while looking in depth at these screenshots, you can see that there are no puzzle pillars in sight, and instead there are a ton of different dead toy bodies laying around, like some Huggies and PJ Pugga pillars. And while not much is known about what this is all for, we can theorize thanks to the description in the announcement saying, "Don't get left behind," with a running emoji, that this could actually be a brand new tag game mode. As if you didn't know, the developers actually teased months ago that they were prototyping some sort of tag game mode where people would chase each other around the map in a confusing but very fun looking way. And this seems to be the very first map in this brand new game mode, hence why there are no puzzle pillars in sight. And in fact, while I'm only guessing here, I theorize that maybe the goal of this game will be to collect as many of the dead toys as possible without getting tagged, and whoever collects the most ends up winning the game. And as for release dates, when this announcement was released, some content creators have supposedly confirmed the update was set to release on October 25th. And some developers confirmed they were right, so in about a couple of weeks, which is excitingly soon. But perhaps what's most important about this update is that last June, when the most recent Project Playtime update released, we were given a mysterious phone in the screening room here that we were supposed to wait for a call from, presumably to start some kind of new ARG relating to Chapter 3 or something of that sort, making me wonder if in a couple weeks when this update releases, we could finally get a call from this phone, and presumably maybe even get an update on the Chapter 3 ARG, because in the second teaser trailer, we can even see the phone laying here, so it has to mean something important for the chapter. And speaking of Chapter 3, we got a ton of news yesterday that tells us so much that we've wanted to know about the game, especially later in this video, because after making a mini announcement post on Twitter, the developers gave us two brand new images, our very first gameplay screenshot and another very mysterious new render. But starting first with the gameplay screenshot, if you couldn't already tell, this new chapter looks a million times better than any other chapter we've gotten so far. Most notably, you can see they've updated the game's UI and the graphics of the grab pack, which are all neat features. But more importantly, looking at the environment around the player, you see a ton of new secrets. First off, we could see an observatory-like room similar to what we saw in the game station of Chapter 2, which is interesting. We could see a ton of barrels and red liquids emerging from them, which we will talk about in a second. And perhaps most interestingly, a purple hand is shown right here, which, judged from what we could see, appears to be some sort of launch mechanic that we can use to get to the other side of this catwalk. And furthermore, what makes this interesting is that we could see that the player in this playthrough only has a blue and green hand, and no purple hand in sight to use, which makes me wonder if perhaps in this chapter, instead of only ever having the hands we needed to solve the puzzles, we could actually be able to choose our hands for every area. For example, in this area, you would want to have a purple hand instead of green, and throughout the game, it would be up to your own judgment to see what you need to progress through the factory. But grab pack hands aside, taking a closer look at these barrels and the red liquid seen here, we can assume that this will be some sort of parkour section where we jump on the little barrels to the next area while avoiding the red liquid. But a big question I have is, what even is the red liquid that these barrels are containing? Originally, I thought it was some type of lava or other generic obstacle the player needed to move around, but instead, after looking into it deeper, it looks like it could have some sort of relation to the poppies, judged by its extremely bright red color and looking very similar to the poppy gas that we've seen in trailers before. Furthermore, I wonder if this could actually be some sort of poppy gel, which, as far as I know, is a mostly fictional material made in Playtime Co's factory, which we only ever see in an experiment document where they tried submerging rats in this poppy gel mixture to try and bring them back to life. I'm not exactly sure at the moment, but let me know what you think it is in the comments below. Much more interestingly, however, we were also given this brand new render of Chapter 3 that shows an extremely dark room of some sorts with a bunch of pipes on the wall and a message that says, "This is what he does to heretics," which when we brighten up shows a ghostly 3 symbol for Chapter 3 and a dead body in some sort of hazmat suit outside of 2 prison cell gates. And much more interestingly, if you look in the hood of the hazmat closely, you'll notice the same exact purple face that we saw in the Chapter 3 teaser trailer too. This time peeking out of the person's body looking much smaller than they have before, which is extremely weird. But this tells us a couple things. First, it confirms that the gender of this mysterious purple monster is actually a boy, since the message refers to him as a he. And furthermore, we finally learned the purpose of the purple creature in Chapter 3, whose job seems to be to attack and kill people like the employee in the suit who was deemed by them as a heretic or a person who opposes some sort of religious belief. Very much tying into the popular theme of Chapter 3 being religion, and more specifically some sort of cult around all of these toys, judged from the second trailer that had candles, a ritual sacrifice, and tons of religious imagery on the walls. And like we said, in terms of roles, the purple toy seems to be in charge of punishing those who go against the religion in some way, based on this message here and the dead body right under it. More specifically, while once again it's hard to get details, he appears to almost be attacking and consuming the human that was once in this hazmat suit. We could see his face peeking through the torn apart hood, and even what appears to be his infamous claws poking through the gloves of the suit as well, which leaves a lot of room for theories that I honestly don't have for right now without just making blatant assumptions. But what's interesting is that this actually isn't the first time that we've seen this incident happen in the factory, since in Kissy Missy's restricted relocation tape, we see that once she gets dragged into the playcare by the employees, the workers who are once again in hazmat suits, possibly to protect them from the red gas, are found lying on the floor dead, with Kissy Missy being freed from her restraints. And we even see some of his infamous claw marks inside of the tunnel and on Kissy's board below her, confirming this is the purple creature, showing that while he was super violent towards the employees, he seems to show mercy to the toys, even freeing them at times, which leads to a ton of questions regarding the chapter that I think we will have to save for a future theory. But while that's all of the new stuff we got today, it seems like even more is on the horizon, as the developers have been getting active on Discord once again and have given us some minor updates on upcoming projects. For example, people have been asking them when Chapter 3 is going to finally get an official gameplay trailer, because we still haven't gotten one yet to this day, and they actually responded super optimistically saying, "We're working on it now, and I imagine it will come out sooner than later." In fact, for better or worse, the developers actually revealed to us that yesterday on the anniversary was actually when Chapter 3 was originally supposed to release this year, but was delayed for polishing reasons, which, if true, has to mean that the game is extremely close to releasing if it was already supposed to be done by now and was only delayed to finish up some bugs in time for release. In fact, in my last video, I mentioned that the developers have said they are about to reveal a brand new announcement for Chapter 3 very soon, and while sure, we did get a couple extra teasers for the chapter today, we never really got any sort of announcement or anything like what this post seemed to be indicating, which gives me the impression that outside of the teasers we have already gotten, especially now that Project Playtime is coming out with another update in a couple weeks, it seems like we can finally expect a real Chapter 3 announcement super soon now that new content is consistently releasing for the game. And in fact, I'm extremely confident that this announcement in question is probably the Chapter 3 teaser release date, since at this point it feels overdue, and I'm about 90% confident that it will drop at least sometime this month. So we should expect updates on that within the next couple weeks as well. And along with all this news that we got, with it being Chapter 1's 2-year anniversary, while they didn't do a BTS video like what they did with Chapter 2, they did spend the day showing off some minor stuff in the games behind the scenes, like some animation bugs, testing for the grab pack, and even a full-blown cutscene that showed Playtime Co actually on the outside, which no matter how many times I look at, still looks insane, and I really hope we get to see it at some point later in the game. And to top it all off, they they released a brand new render for Chapter 1 on Twitter. It doesn't look like it's for any sort of remaster or anything. However, it does still look cool nonetheless. But this anniversary was literally perfect. I couldn't ask for much more. Let me know what you guys think of all these stuff shown below and what it means for the future of the game. Check out this video to see me break down some Chapter 3 screenshots, and peace out, guys.